Hi everyone, I'm Deepa and my business is The Indian Table. I've been cooking since I was almost 4 years old in my mother's kitchen. I remember being a sous chef to her from a very young age. When I moved to the USA, in my quest to find delicious Indian restaurants, I decided to start teaching people how to cook great Indian food. And when my daughter was at an age where she started school, I decided to make it a full-time career. I started teaching out of different locations in town to let people of Sarasota know exactly what I do. When I first started teaching how to cook Indian food to guests in Sarasota, the type of responses I would get were, oh my goodness, I'm not sure, because Indian food is too spicy, I'm not sure whether I'm going to enjoy it. But what I do is I break down this process to show you that the spice and the heat is only the final layer of Indian cuisine. But just by taking off the spice, you can then taste and appreciate the depth of flavor that comes with all the other ingredients and spices that are not necessarily hot on your tongue or your palate. Most importantly, teach them how to make delicious Indian food. I like to take the mystery and the mystique out of Indian cuisine by demonstrating how all the spices work together to create that delicious taste that you associate with Indian food. When I moved to Sarasota, I was so excited to have a lot of people who come from all over the world, and it absolutely amazes me to listen to some of the stories of my guests who have sometimes lived and traveled India intensely. So they are so passionate about that food that they have never been able to replicate in the town through restaurants or cookery books. But by coming to the class, they've been able to identify these tastes and flavors that they can associate with their trips and travels to India, which is absolutely fascinating. At the request of my guests, I also decided to bottle up my garam masala mix, which is an authentic mix of spices. It's actually one of my mother's recipes dating back probably 50 years now. My passion for cooking, Indian food and all of the cooking in general comes from my mother. She was a fabulous cook. She had me in the kitchen pounding in this brass mortar and pestle ingredients to create delicious foods, and I truly appreciate all the mentoring and all the cooking experience that she gave me over the years. I believe that the key to good Indian food is making sure that you're using fresh ingredients. So I like to demonstrate how you would combine those ingredients to create the flavors that you need. I'm all about making spicy mixes from scratch by yourself. So I identify the spices with my guests so they can see exactly, they can see, feel, taste these spices. And that way they can combine them themselves to make spice mixes of their own. So I decided to open up my own kitchen to host cooking classes for guests because I felt that it was more personal with smaller groups. And I think that psychologically it also gives my guests the inclination of working in a real kitchen as opposed to a commercial one, and say, hey, I have a kitchen like this at home. It's going to be that easy to recreate what I've done tonight in my own kitchen. I also teach classes out of my guests' private kitchens too. My objective is to show that you do not need a fancy, huge space to recreate delicious Indian food. One of the best parts about what I do is being able to educate people on Indian cuisine, and it absolutely melts my heart when I get emails from our guests who say, Deepa, we had a fantastic evening, not just because of the food, but because of what you taught us. They send me pictures of what they've made from scratch that are absolutely fabulous. They are so pleased that they were able to recreate those flavors. And what I like to do in my classes is break down the techniques and simplify Indian food. So sometimes we have guests who come to my classes who are completely clueless about the origins of Indian food, the basics of Indian food. So I like to break it down and simplify it so they can go home and make these dishes from scratch themselves for their family and friends.